I had already given so many years of my life. I had already given so much effort, blood, sweat, tears, so much, why give any more?
How long did it take you from the moment when you started feeling like something's missing?
In my past life, is how I refer to it, is I went to medical school. I trained to be a doctor, but it's so stressful.
I have an amazing guest today. She is my friend, film and television actress, Jackie. I'm so happy to have you here in the studio. You've been on shows like Magnum P.I, 13 Reasons Why, Stranger Things. You shot a movie with Juliette Binoche and Morgan Freeman.
I did that for 2 more years. And then I told my hospital, my program, I was not going to renew my contract come July. And so they were like, what?
I'm here to tell you that that is a great feeling.
I loved your little intro there. I got goosebumps from it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Live with Purpose. I'm your host, Anna Lawson. And I created a show to inspire you to get in touch with your true self, to discover your true purpose in life. Do you feel like your life is empty? Do you feel like something's missing? Like what you do doesn't really matter? Or you feel like you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing? I'm here to tell you that that is a great feeling. Tony Robbins teaches that every feeling, every emotion is here to teach us something. So embrace that feeling, be grateful for it, because it will push you forward to take action and change your life. And that's why we are here. I have an amazing guest today. She is my friend, film and television actress, Jackie. I'm so happy to have you here in the studio. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved your little intro there. I got goosebumps from it.
Oh, amazing. That's why we're here. Thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate it, because I want to move the audience and tell them no matter how bad they feel, they can change it.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you grow when you're uncomfortable, right? Otherwise, you just become complacent and you just, you stay where you are. You don't move up in the world, or you don't pursue the things that you want to pursue. So I love what you said. It resonates so much.
So I created a show to inspire people and to tell them that they can change anything. And the bridge between where you are and the life that you want, the bridge between is actually action and your daily behavior. So when you align your behavior with your thoughts and feelings, you can actually create anything. So you are a perfect example, because you've been on shows like Magnum P.I, 13 Reasons Why, Stranger Things. You shot a movie with Juliette Binoche and Morgan Freeman.
I did.
Recently, like a year and a half ago. So these are just some amazing successes.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your work.
Yeah, so I decided to transition into the world of acting about 10 years ago, 2014. In my past life, is how I refer to it, is I went to medical school. I trained to be a doctor. I was 3 years into residency, almost done with my training and everything, and just felt like something was missing, like you were saying. So I felt like there was a bigger calling for me as far as what I wanted to do in life, something that would make me so much happier than what I was currently doing. And medicine is such a noble profession, but it's so stressful. I wish I could say that I was happy doing it, but I was really stressed out. It just wasn't my calling. So I thought, why not go back to my childhood dreams and see what I could do in the acting world, do some short films, independent films, and stuff like that. And then before I knew it, I had quit that job, packed my car up, moved to California, and then started pursuing acting.
I just want to ask you here something, because this is very much in alignment with our entire mission of this show.
Yeah.
How long did it take you from the moment when you started feeling like something's missing until you really quit and moved to California? And did you do any specific meditations, or how did you make that decision? How long did it take you, and how did you transition?
Sure. So I would say my first thought was, throughout the entire process of training to become a doctor, at least for me, every step of the way, I always said to myself, the next phase is going to be better, right? So medical school, it's like, oh, well, it's school. Then I was like, well, in residency, then you get to really work with your patients. You really get to see what a difference you can make. I started out doing residency in general surgery because I thought I wanted to be a surgeon. And when I pursued that, I quickly realized that lifestyle is so intense. It's so many hours. It's so high stress. And that was my first indication. I was like, well, maybe this isn't for me. But I wasn't ready to leave behind medicine yet. You know, I'd committed so many hours, so many years, tuition into it. So I switched over to a different field. I went into pathology. You know, I transitioned to that because I already had like the anatomy background, and that was fine. I did my job, but I didn't have that spark. I did that for 2 more years, and then life presented me with the opportunity to move to California. And my husband, who was my fiance at the time, he got his residency position in California. So I was in Chicago. So we had to make a choice, you know. It was like, do we do so many years apart? Do I move to California and figure it out? Or does he not go? I did that for 2 more years and then make a decision. And there was a lot of soul searching, a lot of, you know, screaming into the universe. But ultimately, the decision was I was going to leave behind a career that was burning me out, move to California. If I have to start over, why not start over in something I wanted to pursue? Give it a few years, see what happens. Yeah, so it took a couple of years. I'd say maybe about 3-4 years total. Just
to transition.
rolling around in my head. Yeah. And then when I made the decision, I remember it was Christmas. I told my hospital, my program, I was not going to renew my contract come July. And so they were like, what? What are you thinking? What are you talking about? You just spent so many years to become a doctor. I just, you know, my thought process was I had already given so many years of my life. I had already given so much effort, blood, sweat, tears, so much, you know, why give any more? Then
it doesn't feel right.
It didn't feel right. You know, it's like I wanted to start over and do something that I wanted to do. And the sooner I got started, the sooner I would succeed in it.
That is so interesting. So today we will talk a little bit about morning and evening routines. They're perfect times because our brain waves are changing from delta to theta to alpha to beta. This living state, this is high beta. So most people, we live in high beta brain waves. This is a little bit of science right now. But morning and evenings are great because our brain waves are changing. So we have the ability to influence our subconscious very profoundly. Was there a aha moment that you had when you were a doctor and wanted to transition to acting? Was there do you remember, you said it was a Christmas when you let your hospital know you're not renewing the contract. But did you have a moment when you were like, acting is my true calling?
Yes.
That is, tell us about that.
Yes. So leading up to that moment, I had told my hospital that I wasn't going to renew my contract. And I had 6 months to kind of figure out what my next step was going to be. So during that time, knowing I was leaving medicine, I felt the freedom to start pursuing other interests. And one of the interests that I've always had as a child was to be an actor. You know, I did community theater, I did drama club, I did all of that. So I started acting on the weekends in student films, independent films, and the very first time I was back on set, it was for a really terrible student film that will never see the light of day. But I just remember it was the most fun I had had in so long. And as you know, in hindsight, as silly as I might have felt, or as, you know, low production value, you know, I'm wearing ridiculous things, saying ridiculous words.
But you had fun.
I just remember I was like, you know, if I could take this feeling that I have and what I'm doing right now, bottle it up, and then just let that grow and let that progress and advance and get better at it, bigger opportunities, I would be so happy. And then it occurred to me, why not? You know, why not? Because the more I met other actors, other more established actors, and asked them questions, I asked so many questions.
That is great. Asking questions is really important.
Yeah, I asked so many questions. They would tell me, you know, this is how I make money. This is how I find jobs. This is who I'm represented by. And little by little, I started to piece it together. And all of a sudden, being an actor wasn't a fantasy career. You know, it was something tangible. It was something that you could actually work towards. You can gain experience. You can learn the skills. You can learn how to do it. You can network and connect. And,
So true.
I started thinking of it as like any other job out there, right?
It's a skill. And
It's a skill set.
And it feels good. Feels like you're playing. That is that state of flow that we are looking for and encouraging our audience. Because when you're living your true calling, you feel like in a flow. You don't feel time is passing. You feel like you're playing. And that is the biggest gift I think that we can give to ourselves. Imagine that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
We would live in such a different world. Hi, beautiful souls. Anna Lawson here, and you're watching Live with Purpose. I'm here with my beautiful friend, Cherise Michelson. She's going to tell us a little bit about how she makes her life in alignment with her purpose. She's an actress, model, amazing person inside and out. So let's check it out. Hi, beautiful Cherise.
Hi.
So tell the audience of Live with Purpose, how do you define success?
I define success as happiness, as arriving to that place that you have wanted to go to. You finally met your goal. For me, that's how I define success.
Amazing. And tell us, what is life purpose to you?
A life purpose, it's something that drives you. It's something that is passion for you. For me, it's service. When I can serve, when I can do something good for someone else, or when I can help them on their path or their journey, that feeds me. So for me, that's my life's purpose. That's what I feel my life's purpose is.
And how does that make you feel? Do you feel fulfilled, inspired, motivated? How does it make you feel?
Always amazing. And energized. So it's something that fuels me when I can do something good for someone else.
Amazing. And when you're also an actress and a model, and when did you start acting?
I started acting way back in middle school. I did plays in school, and then I went to New York to become a fashion designer, and I was scouted on the street to model by a photographer for Harper's Bazaar magazine. And that led to me going to an acting audition. I booked the role, and then I was offered the lead in the next project. So I ended up doing a lot of movies, and that's how I became a professional actress.
And does that resonate with your soul's calling, being an actress, model, and doing that kind of work?
I think so. And the reason why is because it's creative. And by nature, I'm a very creative person. So it gives me yet another outlet to be able to be creative. And I really love it.
Amazing. Anything else you would like to share with our audience on topic life purpose? Any encouragement? Anything?
Well, I would share to never give up. Whatever it is that's in your heart, go for it and work hard, learn your craft, and don't give up. To me, it's important to try to fulfill our dreams while we're here. So I would say go for it. If it's something you want, do it.
And if somebody's uncertain about their life purpose, what advice would you give them?
I would say follow your heart. I would say do the thing that makes you happy, because then it's doesn't feel like work. So yeah, whatever it is that feeds your heart, that is where I would have a person start as far as looking at what they should do for their career or even their personal life.
So look into your heart.
That's it.
And listen to your heart.
That's right.
One thing people don't know about you.
Oh, that I box and kickbox.
Name three of your strengths.
Integrity, loyalty, and honesty.
Your favorite book.
Oh my goodness, the Bible.
One thing that you do every day.
I focus on God and put Him first.
Amazing. And one wish or goal for 2025?
To do more to help other people find their dreams.
Love you, Cheris. Soon. Bye. Do you want to talk about Magnum P.I. and the shows because these are some really great shows. How did they come to you?
Yeah, so Stranger Things was my very first big role. Stranger Things is how I got my SAG card. So I got signed with my agency and he started sending me on auditions, and one of the very first ones was Stranger Things, and I booked it, and my life hasn't been the same since.
How do you stay ready and deliver when they call action? But also you filmed a movie with Juliette Binoche and Morgan Freeman.
I did.
Called Paradise Highway. Yes. Tell us about that.
Yes.
These are Oscar-winning actors.
So there's this casting director who I had auditioned for several times in the past, never booked anything, but this role came around. And I don't want to give away too much of a spoiler. This film, it's a thriller. Juliette Binoche plays a truck driver who gets caught up in a trafficking situation, and she has to decide what's the right thing to do. Morgan Freeman plays a cop. So the role was for it filmed in Mississippi, a Mississippi truck stop gal who tries to kidnap the girl that's being trafficked. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. So this breakdown came out and I was like, what the heck? It sounded so fun. So I submitted for it, forgot about it, got a call back, and I was like, oh, well, this is it. They're going to see me and they're going to be like, well, she's not right for the part. But honestly, the casting director, before the Zoom callback started, he was like, it's so great to meet you. I know you've auditioned for me several times before. It's not always the casting director who's in charge of picking, right? It's the director and the producer or the studio. So he's like, I always love calling you in because you always send me solid tapes. You're so good and you're so talented. So thank you for being consistent and being professional. And I was like, oh, just made my day. Callback went great. I got the role.
That is so amazing.
It was really just, like you said, actionable, right? I could sit back and I can wait for all my agents and managers to do everything for me. But I got this on my own.
That is so brilliant. There were several things. I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm definitely impressed, and I'm so glad you're here with us today. First thing, you submitted yourself. Most people would never do that. They're like, oh, it's not how it's supposed to be done.
Right.
The other thing, that casting director told you thank you for always being consistent, doing your great work. That literally motivated you. You're like, I'm doing great. How do you start your day? Do you have any morning routine?
Oh, I feel like as an actor, every day is different. So if I'm on set, then that's a whole nother story. But if I am not working on a set that day, one of the luxuries is I get to sleep in, unless I have something on my schedule, right? Our days tend to go later than earlier. So I sleep in. I'll wake up whenever I feel like waking up. Maybe sometimes my husband's a little too loud in the morning. Sometimes my dogs jump on me. But either way, I don't have to get out of bed till I'm ready. I'll be honest, I'm one of those, I roll over and I reach for the phone first thing. I know they say you really shouldn't do that, but I do. But I check my calendar, see what I have on the docket for the day, mentally prepare myself, see when's my first appointment, when's my first meeting, when's my first interview, when's my first whatever. And then I get up, I get myself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and then I let my dogs outside and I just stand in my backyard and watch them do their business. But I just kind of soak in the beauty of living in Los Angeles.
So you basically start your day connecting with nature and gratitude.
Gratitude. That's the most important thing for me. If I have an audition I have to do, it's not a chore. It's not like, oh, I have to do this audition. I get another opportunity today. I get another chance to do something that I love to do, that I redirected the entire trajectory of my life. If I have an interview to do, I get to go out and tell people my story and share how excited I am about the things that are happening.
Are you reading something interesting, or the last book you read? Is there anything you would like to share with our audience?
I wish I read more. I feel like I spent so
Medical
many
books.
years reading and studying so much. I'll be honest, I say I wish I read more, but I do read a lot. I read a lot of scripts. I read a lot of industry books.
That is also important as a part of acting life, to read and know about the
Absolutely.
industry.
You need to be up to date with the industry, you know,
So true.
especially now when everything is changing so quickly, you know, after the strikes and after the pandemic, like everything is changing. The world of cable network is transitioning to streaming, and AI is a big topic of conversation. So I kind of like, you know, staying up to date with all the changes that are happening, the hot topics, you know, kind of figuring out where I stand on a lot of these issues.
One thing people don't know about you.
Random. My answer has changed over the past few years, but I think I'm going to say for the first time, I am a really good cook.
Oh, that's amazing.
I feel
What do you like to cook most?
Oh, I love to cook everything now. I think this is a new thing that I'm starting to get comfortable with. You know, I feel like before you're nervous if someone's going to like your dish or not, but now I'm feeling pretty comfortable. I love cooking comfort foods. You know, mac and cheese is like one of my favorites. I have like 5 different cheeses I put into it, including like Velveeta and cream cheese. It gives, it's just.
Do you post these recipes, or you cooking stuff? You should definitely post that.
I should start a different
You know, they're
Instagram.
all like Gwyneth Paltrow. She's like cooking. All the actresses are cooking. Yeah, you should definitely.
Maybe.
do
I don't
it.
know. I got to get one of those,
Yes.
like, was it, like phone holders so you can.
Yes. You should definitely do it. And tell me, what is your definition of success? How would you define success?
I think your definition of success is when you have to move the goalposts. I think that success should be something that you feel every so often. It should be every milestone that you hit. So success isn't a place where you're like, I've made it. I think a lot of people think that way, but I think that leads to complacency. So I think when you hit the milestone, I made it on TV. I succeeded in this. Move the goalposts. What's your next definition of success? That way you're always striving for something. You're always moving forward. You're always trying to be better and bigger and more accomplished. And I think that also gives you purpose, right? Because what is your purpose if you've accomplished everything you wanted to accomplish?
So progress. There's always the next level.
Yes, yes.
If somebody out there is uncertain about their life purpose, and there are many people, they're definitely uncertain, what advice would you give them to get in alignment with their true selves and find their purpose? Because you kind of experience that in your own life. So you can share some of the strategies. How did you make that decision to move from medical career to acting? What would you tell them?
I feel first acknowledge to yourself that it's hard. You know, coming to terms with something's missing in your life and you're not feeling fulfilled. You know, that's a terrible feeling. It makes you uncomfortable, but with discomfort, you grow. So acknowledge that you have a challenge ahead of you and tell yourself that you are up for the challenge. Figure out what it is in your life that will make you happy. You know, what will give you the satisfaction that you seek. And then once you've figured out what that is, what are your first steps? Not just first steps towards that goal, but first steps in how to leave your old life behind. Because it can't be overnight. You know, I don't want to say it's too hard, but it's very risky to just throw it all away on a whim, right? I think that's irresponsible, especially the older you get. Life calls, you have responsibilities, you have bills, you might have a family. So you have to still be a contributing member of society, right? Like you still have to kind of understand how the world works and manage your life in the world. So taking it one step at a time, I think, is really helpful, because if you think of all the things you have to do at first, it's so overwhelming, especially when you're leaving a lot of it to chance. You know, it's an unknown. You're foraying into something. You have a lot of fear. You have a lot of anxiety. Maybe you don't feel like you know enough about it, or you're trained enough about it, or you don't have the funds set aside to make the transition or make the investment. One step at a time, you know, one step forward and one step away, if that makes any sense.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jackie, for joining us. I'm so honored. You're such a wonderful soul and very courageous and very successful. So I wish you success, and I wish that you don't make a mistake when you're walking to get your Oscar. And we're going to be watching you. Me and Shama, like, she knows how to walk.
And then
she
I
walk
will-
a lot
I
of red
will-
carpets. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful, amazing, successful, inspired week, and we'll see you next time.